talked about basically setting everything up on the client and how things would work and how you would make requests and make an order and make order information with payment information for any order you make in John's Cafe. You have your appetizer, your entree, dessert, your ice cream, like all that stuff. You have to make all that data stored somewhere. You have to make that persist in the database. Okay, so now we're going to talk about setting up a text editor. So my favorite text editor is Visual Studio Code. This is a little complicated, so let's make a new project. File, new window. Let's close this one out. File, new window. And so my favorite text editor is Visual Studio Code. It's very easy to get set up. I can actually run through that real quickly. Let's make a new tab here. Visual Studio Code. And so we go here, and then you literally just download it here, or if you want Mac, Linux. I'm running on Windows, so I ran this. And you basically just run through the installer package, you open it up, and this is the screen that you're prompted with, essentially. So after you get that up and running, you say, I want to make a new file, or actually, what I would recommend is actually open a new folder. And what I already did is I went to my desktop, and then I said YouTube content, that's what I'm making this video for. Select folder. It's really a good idea to keep everything organized, because once these files start to get bigger and have more content, have more pages, have more like links, it's gonna get like very bloated. So we're just gonna do that this way. Make a new folder, say pay source, so I guess source files, and here you can have inside of the source you can have a folder called styles. So this still holds your style sheet. I'll get into what all that means right now. New folder. Here we're gonna go talk about your components, or I guess pages. And then the last one, I guess you can say assets, or yeah, assets. There we go. Cool. So HTML fortunately is very simple, and it's not like other web development frameworks or libraries. So HTML is very simple. So you say we're making a new page. Let's say test, or let's just make John's Cafe. So cafe.html. Cafe.html. It's also probably really small. Let me make this bigger. Alright, cool. Sorry about that. That's probably works a lot better. So here's Cafe HTML. And what I recommend is actually going to this little thing right here to get extensions. So what extensions are is it makes your development experience a lot better. It has plugins that, you can have like HTML code snippets. I think it might come in already with Visual Studio. It probably does. Angular HTML snippets, full HTML tags, including HTML5 snippets. I'm just going to download this. I don't think I need this. I'm going to reload the page. So this is Cafe. So if you say HTML, and what this does, actually, let me get the boilerplate out. I'll just do this. So nobody really knows like how. I guess I know exactly how this works, and it's just a pain in the butt to like retype all this every single time. And luckily, this comes default if you just type in HTML on that little square box like I just did. But I'll explain what all of this means right now. So doc type HTML is basically just declaring what kind of document you're loading onto the web page. So basically any page that you load on the internet is gonna have an HTML page, no matter what, no matter how sophisticated, no matter how complicated you think it is, no matter how complicated they think it is, it's all just basic plain this type of HTML. Now, that being said, there are a lot of modern frameworks out there that basically you put up an HTML page, and essentially they have a lot of JavaScript running in the inside, and that's another language which basically does all the dynamic loading, or it's a lot of user-based like interactions with the web page, and it's more dynamic and makes your web page faster and more. It feels like it's more interactive. So that's just what JavaScript is, but HTML is basically just, I wouldn't even consider it a programming language. It's just it marks up text so that you know what goes where. And I'll explain what all that means right now, essentially. So you basically declare this an HTML document, and this is just to start off that you're using an HTML doc. And then the head, there's two components in an HTML page. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go to draw. Where is it? Draw. Here. So another page. So basically, an HTML doc is there's two components of an HTML page. So let's say here, this one, and here. So this is the head, and this is kind of an abstraction. Basically, the head is where all the logic happens of a web page, and what that means is logic style sheets, JavaScript code, script code, I guess, scripts, more text, content delivery. So again, I'll show all this is right now. This is the head, and the head is responsible for all this stuff essentially. Okay, well, this is the head, and I'm just gonna do this. Okay, I tried. Head. So yeah, this is basically the head, and this is the body. The body is responsible for the content of the web page. What does that mean? Everything is, it's an HTML page, so this is the content. So everything from your headers to your divisions to your paragraphs to your links, or to your forms, tables, everything else. Everything you see on a website is basically in the body. So what the head does, the head is super important. Even though you think it doesn't hold any information, it actually really does. So anything from like how you style a website, how you change how you run scripts on the website. For example, if you have a JavaScript plugin running, if you have some kind of data visualization running with JavaScript, or if you have some kind of framework, God forbid that they exist now, it's all JavaScript. So you have to. The head is very important, and the CDN is like, for example, if you use a third-party framework like Bootstrap or another styling guide or some kind of image, asset, icons, anything that's basically like you load the content in from somewhere else, that's basically inside of the CDN, and so that's in the head, and that's very important to have for your website to make it more. It makes development very quick, and you can reference all this information across, and makes your HTML, CSS file less bloated. And so your body is basically where all the magic happens, I guess. I mean, where like the content is, where the content lives. So every single web page is basically an HTML page. So let me see if I can find one. Let's go to this account real quick. Let's go back. Twitter. No, not Twitter. Let's go on Twitter, and let's go on the Twitter homepage. Let's go on this about page, and if we inspect the HTML code right here, if you know if you guys have ever done this, you view page source, and so this is just the raw HTML, and let's analyze it for like 2 seconds. So right here we see we have the head, and the head is very long because Twitter has a lot of scripts running in the background, and it ends right here. This is all the head. These are links for different languages. As you can see, it says Russian, French, English from Great Britain, English from the United States. So it's different languages. Here we have content loading in from somewhere else, essentially. And here we have different scripts that run on Twitter. So this is, I don't even know what this is, but this is basically just JavaScript files that are running. What does this do? This is probably an SVG or some kind of like animation. And then in the body, you have all the content. So it's a lot longer than the head. This is all the body. All of this is the body. As you can see, it's a lot of stuff, but in reality, it's just basically some kind of text or some kind of icons that are wrapped around different tags. And I'll show you what all those tags do right now. See, so we have this. So like if you use, okay, so for example, if you're on the website, any website, you can actually go right here and you can say inspect, Control-Shift-I or Control-Shift-C, they both work. And so if you click on this little icon right here, here we have different elements. This is the header, this is another header, this is a nav bar. I'll explain what all these things are later, and some kind of like big web page, a div for the World Cup. Here we have the news about England and Denmark.